Have you thought about those days where the only thing you feel like doing is absolutely nothing? Your to-do list is over there doing the absolute most, right? And you're giving blank stares into space with a side of nope and a whole mood of maybe tomorrow. I've had those days. We all have. But today I'm going to walk you through what I do when motivation is clocked out and left me holding the apron. So if you've been staring at that laptop and thinking, I just can't today, this one's for you. Let's get into it. Welcome to Talk Like a Brand, the podcast where we're serving up fresh insights and strategies to make your brand look as good as it tastes. I'm Peachy Williams, the brand voice builder and your resident brand chef, here to help you cook up unforgettable brands with a side of fun. Whether you're starting from scratch or looking to add new ingredients to the mix, you're in the right place. Grab your headphones, get comfy, and let's get in the kitchen because it's time to serve up some business smarts that'll leave your brand craving for more. Let's get cooking. Now, let's just call it what it is. Some days you just don't have it in you, and that's not laziness, and it's not procrastination. That's real life exhaustion. And before we even try to fix it, we've got to acknowledge it, right? Now, there are many seasons where entrepreneurs feel like their brand building journeys have days where it feels like reruns. The same to-do list, the same expectations, the same pressure. Sometimes I'd wake up, open my planner, and just stare. I knew what needed to be done, but my body, my mind, and my spirit, they weren't clocking in when I was. One day I was sitting in front of my laptop staring at an email draft I'd written and rewritten 5 times, and nothing sounded right. Nothing felt good. I was still showing up, but not really, and I was there, but not present. Then it hit me. I was not tired, I was spent. And here's the thing, you cannot pour from an empty cup, and you can't push through on fumes and actually expect flavor. Burnout doesn't always come screaming. Sometimes it whispers through the cracks in your joy. You've been feeling that fog and that stuck feeling that I should be doing more, but I just can't. You are not broken. You're human. So let's start from there. Motivation isn't a one-size-fits-all. You have to find your flavor. You know how everyone has their favorite comfort food, right? That go-to dish that brings them back to life? Well, motivation works the same way. Some people, they are powered up by results and they see the needle move and suddenly they're on fire. Other people, they get lit up by encouragement, a good word, a client shout out, or a sweet DM. And then there are those who need space to rest, reset, and return with fresh energy. Now, it can be difficult finding out what your motivation recipe looks like. I had to learn mine, and for me, it's twofold. It's part purpose and part progress. I need to know that what I'm doing matters and that I'm moving forward, even if it's slow. I remember one time I was dragging myself through a project and I was trying to finish a launch and nothing was clicking. And I stepped away, not for hours, but for 10 quiet minutes. And then I asked myself, why am I doing this? Who is this for? And suddenly everything clicked into place. When you feel like that, you always have to go back to your why. Why are you doing this? And what makes you happy beyond money, right? Why did you really start your brand? And so knowing that flavor means you know how to season your day. Some days you need silence. Some days you need music blasting. Some days you need a fresh to-do list. But once you figure it out, everything gets easier to taste and digest. Hey, brand builders, want to take your brand to the next level? Join my exclusive mailing list at bit.ly/collarmail and get the latest tips, tricks, and resources to create, brand, and grow your way to success. It's quick, it's free, and packed with everything you need to make your brand shine. Don't wait, hit that link and join the brand fam today. Let me tell y'all what I've learned from being overwhelmed. When the big feels overwhelming, You need to shrink the recipe. When your plate feels too full, it's not about adding more, it's about scooping less. Have you ever tried cooking, say, a 5-course meal when all you had time and energy for was a snack? That's what giant to-do list feels like when motivation is MIA, right? So here's the trick. Again, shrink that recipe. Break that big thing down. I call it the one spoonful strategy. Instead of saying, I have to build a full website, I say, let me just write the homepage headline. Instead of saying, I need to plan my next 3 months, I say, let me brain dump at least 5 ideas. Because as you do that, that's how momentum builds. It's not from finishing the entire meal. It's from tasting the first bite and saying, ooh, I got this. And listen, once you stir that pot, even just a little, the aroma brings you back. The energy returns and the motivation gets a little bit more flavorful. You always have to prep your kitchen to get your mind right. So let's talk a little bit about setup, because sometimes motivation isn't about how you feel, it's about how you frame the work. Chefs call it mise en place, everything in its place. And y'all, this can change your life. Now, before I get into a task, I set the stage. Light a candle, turn on the Get It Done playlist, and kind of clear the clutter from the workspace. Sometimes I set a 25-minute timer, but I do something to shift the atmosphere from chaos to control. Because let's be honest, half the battle is mental clutter, right? Mental clutter is a thing. And when your space is messy, your mind gets foggy. Some people can work in things all around, but for the most part, you are clearing your energy when you have a really clean space. When you're prepping that space like you're about to create something amazing, that's when the switch starts flipping, right? So even if you're dragging today, I want you to give yourself a vibe shift, not a full-on makeover, but just enough to tell your brain, okay, we're about to create something that matters. And here's what I want you to remember the most. You don't need to be gourmet to be great. You show up as you are. You don't need to be fully dressed. You don't need to be fully caffeinated. You don't need to be fully ready to show up. Just be you. Show up as you are. Because sometimes motivation looks like writing that caption while you're still in your PJs. Sometimes it looks like posting a video with imperfect lighting. Sometimes it looks like doing it anyway, even though you're nervous, you have doubts, and your confidence is not all there. And guess what? Action feeds motivation, not the other way around. You don't wait until you feel like it to get started. You get started and then the feeling follows. So instead of waiting for that perfect moment, I want you to create the moment. Show up messy, but meaningful. Give what you can and trust that it's enough. There it is, your full recipe for motivation when the couch is calling louder than your brand goals. Start small. Set the mood. Shrink that task and show up with what you've got. And if all else fails, rest, then reheat. If you enjoyed this recipe today, please share it with another brand builder. And until next time, I want you to keep creating, keep building, keep branding, and remember, even the smallest flame can cook up something big.